of November of every year. But I want to say that we agree that our fallen heroes who actually paid the supreme price in both the First, Second World War and including the Civil War. Also, we should note very clearly that we are also celebrating our serving soldiers who are in the front lines, even in Nigeria, in the northeast, in the northwest, and settling all the battlefields, and even taking part in the United Nations peace peace cause. And this, while they are performing this duty, while they pay this supreme price, it is expected that especially we in the political class should understand that these people have life for the peace of all of us, and therefore something should be done for them. And like I can say, on our part in the National Assembly, we've been very supportive with the fact that we should enhance the kind of budget for the welfare of soldiers who are also in the front lines. And I can tell you we have done that. Some years back, I remember that some of the soldiers get little spend, like you get them 500 naira. They take as allowance on battle days in front lines. That means in a whole month they take close to just 15,000. But I think we've improved that to at least 2,000 per day, and this is to enable them do more better. And I'm aware that the army, as the general said, when our serving soldiers died in battlefields, the education of their children is key. And we work to realize that we have had few complaints where some widows will say we've been ejected from the barracks even without priority. So we have little challenges here. But I think the truth is that they've been doing their best. So where we have some of these complaints, we try to also talk with the military authorities to address. But from the little oversight that we've been doing, and I think there's improvement. They are looking at the welfare of the soldiers, and particularly, as I mentioned, about associations. And what we can do, we will also do our best, because people who are ready to die for us, we must also do our best to keep them adequately funded and be able to do so that they can put more efforts in trying to defend this country.
All right, General Cyprian, again, beyond the rhetorics of the celebrations, yes, and all that you have told us, that it's been done. Yes. Remember, I said it's been done. Yes. And used to be done in hand. Yes. So I'd like for you to give us highlights of what today's celebration will be, okay, in terms of content, of the celebrations. What will be the message, to the families of those, who have fallen, who will be at the parade ground today?
Okay. First of all, we need to know that some 2 months or so behind, the president launched the emblem day, which is the symbol of the celebration. And it's being worn, and this is what it is. It's being worn from 2 months ago up till today. Today is the last day, after which, except if you just want to wear it. Mm-hmm. So that is very important. Funds are raised. These things are not given free. They are sold to the public. Nobody is given free. So the funds generated are also meant to be given to the families of the fallen heroes through the appropriate association, which I think is the Nigerian Legion. Though we have some other associations, but the recognized one is the Nigerian Legion, which is the one that is actually giving prominence in this anniversary celebration, because it's the main association that the veterans come together, give their expression, give their contribution, and then move ahead. So apart from that one, donations are made during this emblem launching by well-meaning Nigerians to the families of the fallen heroes. And the donation continue from the time the emblem is launched till the last possible day. So all these funds raised are usually channeled to the families of the fallen heroes through the Nigerian Legion. Nigerian Legion is a well-established organization they have some business concern, they are involved in some business activities. So they have the nominal role of all the fallen heroes, and they have branches in all the states of the federation. So these branches take stock of the fallen heroes, take stock of their problem. They meet regularly. So all these funds that are raised, and from also the funds they raise from what they do in their commercial engagement. Anytime the fallen heroes have some problems as they go on with their lives, the children are assisted, the families are assisted. They also try to help them. Sometimes there are some extracurricular things the family do, especially with regards to the children, which may not necessarily be covered in the arrangement made for the fallen hero as part of their entitlement, because the government pays the school fees up to university level, but they may have some other engagements which are these funds that is generated is used to assist them through the association.
Let me stick on the emblem.
Yes.
It is routine.
Yes, routine.
It's been routine, and every year. For this year, what is there any value addition in terms of maybe increasing, in terms of the funds? Do we have more funds this year? Have more people patronized? Bought more emblems this year? Do we have any increase?
I think if you realize the awareness is gaining currency with every passenger. In the past, very, very few people even know what it means not to talk of wearing it. It's become now very important that you see them being sold at the airports, you see them being sold in malls, you see them being sold by these boys standing on where there's traffic hold up. They sell them. So the awareness is gaining currency, and the more the awareness, the more funds that will be generated. And the more funds that are generated, the more funds that will go to the families. So I think what is important now is for the Nigerian Legion to really rise to the occasion and ensure that the funds are properly utilized for the families of the fallen heroes. That way, we have less problem from their side. But like I said, they themselves, they are not sitting on their hours. They are engaging in several things. There are a lot of opportunities for them. If you go to all these services, Wives Association for the Army, Air Force, Navy, the Defense, and Police. So all these provide ample opportunities for the families and the children to go and learn vocation, because this is very, very important for them, since most of them are only used to living in the barracks. Most of them don't engage in the type of government work that ancillary, so even if the person died, you continue. Most of them are engaged in selling, the petty trading, knitting, and then getting involved in some other things. So the vocational center helps them with that one. So the sale of the emblem is very, very important source of fund for them. So the federal government also give large chunk of money as its own donation for the fallen heroes, so that when the celebration is on, the families of the fallen heroes actually look forward to this day, not only to remember their loved ones, but also to look forward to something that will help them to improve their living.
Right. Thank you very much, General Jibril. Let me pose this question to Major Adofiku at our Jos Network Center. Let's attempt to humanize this issue. We talk about fallen heroes. These were persons with life and blood. And for those of us who are in the larger society, what we do get to hear is that part of the orientation for military personnel is that be ready to serve your fatherland. And where the circumstances warrant, you're ready to lay down your life. But losing a life isn't easy. And for those who are living, it sometimes could be traumatic, remembering that, say, in warfare, your compatriot or your comrade who is beside you could be struck by a missile, could be struck by a bullet, and the person passes away. So get into the mind of, say, a military officer. What does it mean to lose your colleagues in battle? And thereafter, how does that affect your orientation?
Before I answer that question on what it means to the military officer, losing colleagues in battle, I'd like to make a very quick correction there to the comment by my general there, General Jibrin. Since the program began, he's mentioned on 3 instances of large chunks of money being given to dependents of our fallen heroes. I'd like to correct that so that my mother at home will not be at risk. She is a dependent of a fallen hero. This government has gone a long way in doing something to alleviate the suffering of dependents of fallen heroes. But please, let us not call it large chunks so that somebody will not go after them. That is that. And then secondly, I also like to quickly point out that the burden of managing ex-service personnel or veterans is a huge burden that every government anywhere in the world remains very sensitive to, just as we are in Nigeria. The British were very smart. They were very smart. They foresaw it, knowing them for their vision and diplomacy. They saw it coming. And when they were, disengaging from Nigeria, they established the Nigerian Legion via a statutory act of parliament. And that act of parliament that we interpret today, Act number 37 of 1988, being modified in the course of the dynamics of life as it is, clearly places the Nigerian Legion as the master manager of the welfare of both living and non-living veterans. And what that translates to mean, if you go and look at the Act, Section 2 of that Act, says so much that the Nigerian Legion looks like another government in existence. Unfortunately, because of our historical antecedent, this has not manifested into practical welfare support as it should be. Much of the burdens we are shifting to government today is actually not government's burden. Is the burden that should have been taken by a very developed Nigerian Legion organization. However, talking about the question you put to me, death is something that the living gets deleted. The dead gets deleted, and so no more reference as far as he's concerned on the other side to us. The living gets emotionally sensitive, and like any other human being, the fact that a colleague drops and dies and cannot talk to you anymore, and cannot work with you anymore, and cannot operate with you anymore, is in itself a emotionally demoralizing phenomenon. However, by the training of the military personnel, you have a firm understanding from the beginning that death is an obvious event that would happen. For that reason, whenever that experience comes through, it does not really shake the prime objective for which you are there. In other words, attaining or obtaining national security. And that is why, like I did mention earlier on, it's a position that is discomforting as it may be, but is accepted by the soldier or the officers and the soldiers. Therefore, the issue of them going to die or not dying, or somebody dying, is neither here nor there for the serving soldier. All he does is he has an objective, he's been trained for that objective, and he works for it. And in concluding this segment, I'd like to say something that we have not done enough in Nigeria. We've not done enough encouragement to our young ones who are there now, our colleagues who are serving now. For example, in November, December, the Kankara episode in Katsina State, where 344 Nigerian students were rescued, I repeat, rescued by the Nigerian armed forces. That is a feat not commonly exhibited anywhere in the world. Rather than congratulate, rather than commend our forces, rather than make our forces feel this is good for us as a nation, we try to deride it. You hear such comments like, oh, they were released. There is a world of difference between released and rescued. Our political class, unfortunately, my honorable member there talked about a political class of, that had a different perception from those of us on the other side. Please, I want to say this for the purpose of this exposition to the nation. There is no you and them arrangement in the political class. I want to emphasize that even what you think is the political class, we have military men in them, retired as the case might be. So we are also part of the political class. And our understanding is that we are glad what the current government is doing to ameliorate the sufferings of dependents and also to morally motivate the troops that are on. That is why the celebration today is a mixed grill. It's a mixed grill of solemnity where we remember those who have fallen, a mixed grill of moral motivation. When we see these young ones come to parade to give our fallen colleagues that respect. For those of us who are living, in fact, you've made our day. We feel good. So the Remembrance Day is significant. It's more than just, Again, I want to add here, based on what my general has said there. You see, a country that is statistically shy, some of the things you mentioned there could be very difficult. And like is being currently arranged, there is a deliberate effort, I think, from this year, 2021, to begin to establish a firm, reliable statistical platform. Because without statistics, you cannot translate most of the policy initiatives you've just mentioned of government to those beneficiaries we desire. For example, in a state like Plateau, it's in recent times, with the efforts of the Nigerian, the RANAO and the branch of the Nigerian Legion, they have been able to come up with a local government by local government update of the statistics of widows of our fallen heroes. This is a great move. And we hope that when we come on this screen next year to deliberate on the Remembrance Day, we will be in the position to tell you, today in Nigeria, we have this number of widows, we have this number of widowers. I hope we realize that we're also having women in our combat now, and so on and so forth. And with that, then we can talk about the efficacy of the translation of those policies the General and the Honorable Member had elicited for us. For the living veterans, we are glad at what the government is doing, because anything done to the support of the veterans, living or dead, is a morale booster to those who are in service. In fact, it is the tonic that stimulates, that stirs up the training they have, because they have a memory that is comforting.
All right. Thank you very much, Major Adofiku, for the points that you have raised. And just before my colleague Claire comes on to take the next question, I just would like to point out, for your benefit and indeed for the benefit of some others who might not have witnessed that incident. Upon the rescue of the Kankara school pupils, 344 of them, Good Morning Nigeria, that's the NTA Current Affairs flagship program, had a special edition on Saturday. Now, Good Morning Nigeria runs from Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. But we had to have a special edition on a Saturday after the Friday news of what happened with the rescue of the pupils. And I think General Jibril was one of our guests, and General NTA was also here, along with the Minister of Information. And the torrent of tweets we received on that occasion did show the appreciation of Nigerians to the efforts of the military. Claire.
Yes, thank you, Kingsley. Thank you for that. Quite so. And talking about appreciation, I'd like to bring in the Honourable Namdas here now. Again, Major Adofiku talked about the fact that today's celebration is a mixed grill of remembrance, for those who have passed, for the fallen heroes, and of course, celebration of those of the living, as you also rightly acknowledged. Now, beyond the donations, the handouts, and all that given to the families of those who have died, is there any deliberate constitutional arrangement, for some kind of financial, benefits to those families, as a form of motivation?
Well, thank you so much. Let me say that even our national anthem, the 10th line of the national anthem says, "The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain." It says shall. In law, when you say shall, it becomes very powerful and it's a must. And I think it is driving from that these arrangements are being made to see that fallen heroes are actually being catered for. And as the Major rightly pointed out, the Act talks about legend to try to take care of the financial abilities of all the fallen heroes. Now that is the area the Act has actually recognized. My only concern is that over the years in this country, because throughout the 36 states of the Federation today, you see governors, political leaders will always be launching this emblem. You find both private individuals and government officials will be making pledges. I have bought this at the rate of 1 million, 2 million. But most of the times, and we should be very careful, I think this is where the things should be serious. Well, we are celebrating a very serious matter. People who have sacrificed their life for us. And you find cases, people making pledges and refusing to redeem those pledges. And I think government should not take it lightly. Anybody who make pledges of 10 naira and cannot redeem it, that person should be taken seriously.
Isn't that the reason why? Because that's why I said, beyond all this, isn't that the reason why consideration should be made of finding a constitutional way of,
For us, the parliament, the Act speaks for itself. You see, the Legion manages everything because this is something that deals with fallen heroes. So the Legion have been given the opportunity to do it. But whether these finances are appropriately managed is something that is a different thing altogether. It is not from the National Assembly that you cannot make law and be the one to also execute those laws as supervised. But the thing is that we have had instances where people make pledges and don't redeem them. And this is very, 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 very worrisome. Number two of it is that in some parts of the world, even families of fallen heroes or war veterans, when they go to even supermarkets, there are times that certain things are reduced for them just for the fact that they have actually done certain things. I think that this recognition should be made, or government should say, okay, because of these war veterans who are alive, because not only for the dead, it is for those who are also living and those who are even serving. So in the event that people who are serving or who are veterans and have played their part and are alive, they should be given special concession even when they go to certain to procure things, even in the markets and things like that. But I can tell you that we have issues with that. And I think it is very important that government today look across people who are making donations and whether these funds are actually getting to the right people. But I can tell you in the military in the army that actually I oversight, we have gone around to see that are these families really benefiting? Are the children being paid their school fees? Are they being ejected or not? Are they still living in the barracks? These are things we have taken care of. And I think we have, to some substantial extent, they are doing their best. But you know, Nigeria is a big country, and you can never stop getting complaints. But I can assure you, the military is doing its best, government, but I think more attention should be paid to the finances of the Legion. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. I wanted to stay with you, but I want to bring in General Jibrin one more time, because we know that he has to also be part of these activities later on this morning. We, on the face of it, we have seen some improvement. In the past, retired military personnel faced the indignities of sleeping on the streets, on the sidewalks, to collect their pension. I think those spectacles appear to have vanished in recent years. And a couple of years ago, we also heard about the creation of a veteran affairs, whether it's a unit or a
Veteran
department.
Federation.
It's a unit or in the Ministry of, whether it's at Defense Headquarters or otherwise, some veterans unit. There was a general who was in charge. These would appear to be steps being taken to cater to the needs of officers who are alive. And you also talked about the welfare issues that are being taken care of. But I just want to also point out something, and I think we've had you on this program where we have also related to this. And in a sense, it also speaks to what Major Adofiku pointed out. You know, in terms of members of the public having fuller and better appreciation of the military, and therefore, even after service, and now they are veterans, to say, look, let them have some concessions, such as Honorable Namdas is talking about. There is a critical issue of, apparently, poor military-civil relations. There's also been a new unit created for that. I think General Rogers, Nicholas was in charge of it at some point. What do you think can be done to enhance civil-military relations so that it is not us versus them? It is not military versus so-called bloody civilians. We know that you are there for us and that we should support you in or out of service.
Well, first of all, you are very right. A lot of changes have taken place, especially to make the lives of veterans more comfortable, because, like I said earlier, the pension has been enhanced to something very reasonable that the veterans can use to take care of most of their requirements. Apart from that, you are also right, it's a Veterans Affairs Department that has been created at DHQ and is headed by a general. So this department is major work from the beginning of the year to the end is to deal with any issue relating to the veterans, dead or alive. So all these things have been made, and apart from that, in all the service headquarters, now we have Civil Military Affairs Department. These are branches deliberately created, realizing that there are a lot of gaps in the way the military relate with the public and the public relate with the military. So what is being done here is to ensure that throughout the year they churn out activities which actually let the public know this is what the military is doing, this is what the military is going through, so that gone are those days when all those military things are hidden in secrecy. Now, every now and then you hear General NTA in the air telling the public exactly what the military is doing at the war front, northeast, northwest, and also all the activities the military is doing is given to the public so that they can know and appreciate and contribute. But now what is important is, you know, it's not a one-way track. While the military is making effort to expose more and more its activities, to invite the public to get involved in activities, that there should have been commensurate response from the public, not just from the public, I mean even from government agencies like the Ministry of Information, the other agencies that are dealing with public awareness and orientation. So if we have the two all doing the same thing to ensure that there is a good and symbiotic relationship between the military and the public, is going to help. Now the military is doing other things very, very important. Anywhere the military is operating, in the northeast, in the northwest, north central, anywhere the military is operating, there is what we call winning the hearts and mind. So the military tries to say, okay, we are not only there to protect you using weapons and laying our lives, we are also there to provide succor for you. The military is involved in road construction, especially if you go to the northeast. There is hardly any contractor that will agree to accept a road construction in certain places. So only the military engineers do go there, and the public that live around them know that one. They also try to sink boreholes, also try to do medical outreach free of charge, so that the communities can benefit from that. They send doctors and nurses to dispensaries and hospitals where normal doctors will not like to go and do that. A lot of schools were restructured and renovated, and then desks and other teaching aids provided for them. The same thing with dispensaries. Even in the area of enhancing living accommodation, the military engineers were involved in their effort to at least show the communities that we are not oppressors. We are not fighting your kids and kin because we don't like them, but because they are killing you, they are making you miserable, they are making it difficult for you to get engaged in your normal economic activities. So all these things are part of what the military is doing to bolster civil-military relation. So like I say, it has to be two ways. You know, in some other countries, you see some well-meaning citizens coming forth to assist their military in their effort to protect the country from the menace they are having. But not much is being had in the country where you have our philanthropies coming. A lot of money was generated by some of our rich people to fight this COVID-19, which is very good as it is. But we expect that in future, similar thing can be advanced to the military. Some of the rich people have supported the police openly. We have seen it. Not much is being had in that kind of support to the military, except state governors who actually are prime beneficiary of some of the activities of the military. They support them with vehicles, communication equipment, and so on and so forth. So we hope to see the rich people in the country. We have many of them. They don't come out. The military also need this support. The government is budgeting a lot to fund the military, but it may not be enough, or there is still room where the public can make their own contribution in so many areas.
How do you deal with the issue of the bloody civilian mentality, particularly amongst the rank and file?
Well, you know, that is just a saying that for me is obnoxious, but actually it's usually in the past, during the period immediately after Civil War. You know, when the soldiers' head was hot, that time also then they are feeling tough. And so that's we hear all these bloody civilian and things like that. But now I'm assuring you, because there is a serious communication and interaction between the serving personnel and the civilian.
All right. Thanks a lot, General. Claire, let me just... I will give you this, but this just an aside.
Yes.
You say after the Civil War. But up to 1988, I'm sure you'll recall, the so-called Mad Dog Syndrome.
Yes.
Involving some personnel and the late Chief M.K. Abiola.
Yes. You know that one, like I said, is an action of one single military senior officer. Maybe somehow he gets annoyed. And you know, some people used to even think that the military received injection. And that injection, once it starts working, you start getting hot. So I think
there was a time we used to believe that what the soldiers used to eat, the food they give to the soldiers, had some form of injection, inside
some steroids,
inside it. But please, just before Honorable Namda, just before you come in, since we have to let you go, I'm also thinking we must commend the wives, of the officers, POWA, NAOWA, and indeed the Navy Officers Wives Association. They've been doing tremendous, job in assisting, especially the women, wives of the slain. But beyond what the legionnaires expect, the pledges from the governors, and of course from the emblems and all that, don't you think that it will also be, more reliable and realistic to have some form of fund allocated in the budget, for these special people that we're celebrating today?
Yes, I thank God Honorable is with us today, because this is a matter that the executive and legislature should be able to sort out. But anything voted in support of the fallen heroes,
but it is
a very, very good idea, and so anything done in that direction, I'm sure will be welcomed. Mention was made about the management of these resources. The only association we have right now is the Nigerian Legion. So they have that's why it's encouraged that all veterans should participate in the activities of this Nigerian Legion. If we are not happy with it, when they are doing their election, all of us, the veterans, we should try to participate to make sure that we elect only the best executive we think they can do their best. But most people try to fold their arms and stay by the corner and be criticizing the association. But when they are doing their activities, when they are doing their election, we don't go and participate. So those who are available, when they are elected, they have to perform their role. Whether it will serve us right or it will not serve us right is a different thing. But I assure you there is effort now being done to review the whole structure, because I think that at the DHQ level a lot has been done to come up with a bigger and more organized association called the Veteran Federation of Nigeria, which will now absorb the Legion and all the other associations. A draft bill has been already made, and I'm sure necessary steps are being taken to ensure it reach the National Assembly, where it will go through the rituals there. And I'm praying that when it gets there, our Honorable will help us to make sure that it has an easy passage, because that way, once it comes, because the people who are sitting on the fence now feel that if that kind of all-embracing association, they will try to participate. So I really feel that it will be encouraging for government to vote whatever amount is possible in support of them. But we have to have an association that will really manage it very well so that it will reach the intended people.
Indeed. General Ahmed Tijani Jibrin, former Director, Military Intelligence, we really appreciate you. And we just... we'll still keep you, or
yes,
we'll let you go?
Up to 20, I still have 10 minutes.
All right, so we'll keep you for now. So let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
A new edition of TV Guide is out with special focus on the game changer, His Excellency Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State. Broadcasting in a digital economy, Maxwell Lobo gives an insight. This edition also features Nancy Naji of AIT, a name synonymous with business. Meet the NCDC boss, Dr. Chikwe Ihekweazu. TV Guide, your indispensable companion, also x-rays the relevance of social media in the modern society. Meet some TV professionals who have impacted their spaces and other inspiring stories in sports, entertainment, and lots more. Grab a copy at the vendor near you or NTA stations nationwide. TV Guide, your indispensable companion.
Dialogue, empathy, love, and unity. These are vital components of nation building.
For all to be well, we appeal that we should refrain from volatile, provocative, inciting messages and language.
Let's build and not destroy.
After dropping 2 points from a winning position last week, Wolverhampton Wanderers will be excited to welcome struggling West Bromwich Albion to the Molineux Stadium. Will West Brom prove an easy 3 points? Find out as Wolverhampton Wanderers take on West Bromwich Albion on the Premier League Live, showing on the NTA network from 1 p.m. this Saturday. The Premier League Live is brought to you by Axis Bank, Babai Jebu, Lipton, and Close Up, in association with Gold.com.
All right, you're welcome back, and it's still Good Morning Nigeria, live on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Let's return to our Jos Network Center. Major Adofiku, of course, you've been listening to the comments and points being made by the other guests with respect to the plethora of issues that have come up in this conversation. Perhaps to give you the opportunity of chipping in as well, particularly this aspect, how to better handle veteran affairs. We know that the Nigerian Legion is there. That's the former legal entity at the moment. But Claire was talking about special funding for veterans to be part of the line budgeting. I want to slightly digress from that and therefore make a suggestion. Earlier, General Jibrin was talking about philanthropies, that's to say charities and corporations assisting the military. I wouldn't expect corporations as part of their CSR or charities to be helping in buying, purchasing armament. But could charities and corporations as part of their CSR not make contributions to funding of veteran affairs through the Nigerian Legion or whatever legal entity might emerge?
For an answer to that, yes, private corporate outfits could and are participating in the support of welfare programs for the veterans in Nigeria. However, the number is not as enough. As of today, I can confidently tell you about 2 organizations that are up front in supporting the veterans. We have one, the NAPAS, that's the National Personal Assets Acquisition Scheme, which is a public-private partnership arrangement supporting economically and socially the welfare activities of veterans. And we also have some other smaller organizations partnering with the Nigerian Legion in doing this. You see, it's nice we understand one fact here. As of today, there are about 16 different welfare associations, veterans welfare associations in the country, including the Nigerian Legion. Now, these welfare associations, when you look through their mandates, you find that they are actually taking a chip out of the mega responsibilities the Statutory Act or the Act of Parliament had placed on the Nigerian Legion, which tells us that the dynamism of societal development is also imperative in the management of the veterans. Therefore, which goes back to the earlier discussion on public-military relationship, there should be a deliberate effort to encourage, sensitize the Nigerian public outside the military to begin to understand the military as being part of the society. The garrison and barrack arrangement of the military, which is strategic to its survival for the performance of its basic functions, has socially alienated to a large extent our military men. So there is the need for us to begin to take the fight, just as the military is taking the fight from their end, as the general mentioned, to win the hearts of the public. The society should also begin to take the fight from its end. And to this, I want to suggest here that the National Orientation Agency should come up with a program, a definite program of educating, sensitizing, and refocusing the disposition of the average Nigerian towards the military. That would help a lot in that aspect. Coming to the veterans, the management of the veterans setting, like I did say, there are about 16 veterans welfare associations. These 16, except the Nigerian Legion, are private veterans initiatives. They are initiatives by the veterans themselves to take care of themselves. You find some with such names as Veterans Widow Support Group. We find some veterans, Soldiers Welfare Support Group, and they're all there. And that was why I also want to give credit to the current Chief of Defense Staff when he came up with what our general here alluded to earlier on, the Veterans Federation of Nigeria. The concept of the Veterans Federation of Nigeria is to allow these multitude of associations. You can't stop it because that is globally acceptable. In the United States, you have about 2,360, veterans associations, in addition to the American Legion. In the UK, you have over 150 of such associations, and some of them are even purely civilian arrangements, but in support of the welfare of the veterans. For that reason, they are accepted. We are looking towards a Nigeria where more private, public, individuals and corporate organizations could come in, take a piece of the action. I think one of the things, like I did mention, the National Orientation Agency should help us do, is to help us project more to the Nigerian society. What are the pains, what are the pinches of the veterans, both the living and the dead, their dependencies? What are the aspects? Look, government cannot take all the burden alone. It is not done anywhere because the burden alone is like managing another nation. So we will therefore plead with the society that please, there are a lot of areas. The general spoke about it, the honorable member hinted on it. People who have served this country and have paid the supreme sacrifice and left behind dependents, those dependents must survive. Those dependents should grow. Those dependents should enjoy the good will of their parents or their family leaders. For those who are alive, it is gratuitous. It is not to the credit of this nation to see a wretched-looking veteran. It's not. For example, if I were haggard-looking and coming to sit on your studio, I would have done more damage to the morale of the nation than any other. So what we are saying is this: the veterans should not be addressed from the disposition of the military. Let it be part of our societal, a major segment of our society that needs to be collectively addressed. Like you did.
Major Adofiku, thank you very much. Earlier, we had indicated that General Jibrin was going to take his leave before the program ends. We just want to give him the opportunity of responding to one last question before he takes up. We're still going to retain you, Major Adofiku, in our Just Network Center. But General Jibrin, this has been a very worrisome issue for us in the country. We know that we have issues with data collection, and so on and so forth. Now, in some other jurisdictions, particularly in advanced jurisdictions, even when their citizens as service personnel have to fight wars half a world away, there is usually data relating to number of service persons, who lost their lives and those who are missing in action. We don't appear to have that in our system. Sometimes there are bland references. If we were to ask now, we were in Liberia from 1990 for a number of years. We were in Syria alone. How many of our service personnel were deployed to Liberia? How many of them returned alive? So how can we begin to deal with this? And the kind of honor you also see sometimes departed service personnel. We see examples of that from time to time, but it doesn't appear to be widespread. What can and should be done with this, with respect to this?
Okay, I know in the military, all the services, they have automotive data processing center. And these centers are making every effort to ensure that everything is captured. You know, you have mentioned in the earlier about the problem the pensioners were having, dying on the street and so on and so forth. What actually happened was, as a result of the work done to ensure that appropriate data is captured of all the retired personnel. Now I can tell you with confidence that there is no any retired personnel that is not captured by military pension board. The data is captured. Any issue he has, once you go there, they will just type his number and every information about him will come out. So we don't have problem of our ex-servicemen saying that this his name is not there, this entitlement could not be traced. No, the data is there. And these automotive data processing centers are also making effort to ensure that all our engagements in peacekeeping, in other operations within and outside the country, the data is appropriately captured. Because I'm talking about now the serving personnel. But with regards to the activities of the Legion in trying to capture the data of our fallen heroes, their families, and so on, I think the senior major there has mentioned the effort being done in Plateau State. But the same effort is being made in all the states of the Federation to ensure that accurate data is captured for all the fallen heroes and their families. It's an ongoing thing. It's not something that I will say it has been finished, but it's an ongoing thing. And I'm sure in time, all the necessary data will be captured. And I believe also with the coming of the Veteran Federation of Nigeria, which is likely to succeed the Legion will remain, like he rightly said, all the association will remain, but this one is going to be an umbrella body and is going to come with the force of a modern association with all the necessary facilities to ensure that the data of all its members are captured up to world level. So with this, I believe that we'll have a better regime of data management of living and dead personnel.
I really wanted to react to some few of the things he said earlier, so that before you ask a new question.
So,
Honorable Namdas, you're going to speak now, but let us thank General Ahmed Tijani Jibrin, former Director of Military Intelligence, for having been part of our conversation, and indeed for being a regular guest on Good Morning Nigeria. General, we thank you very much and wish you a happy Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration 2021.
Thank you very much, and happy Armed Forces Remembrance Day 2021 Nigeria. Thank you.
Honorable Namdas.
I wanted to say, in respect to even data, if you go to the military cemetery today, almost all soldiers who have really passed in the front lines, you see the data right even in the military cemetery. They try to capture that, because if there's one institution in Nigeria that is also very, very up to date with data, I think the army is also, the military or the armed forces generally are one of those that have. But the area I wanted to also intervene was the area of funding that you mentioned about the legionnaires in this country. You see, just like the Major said, more attention should be paid to the private sector to try to make provision to assist the fallen heroes in terms of raising funds. As I speak to you, in the National Assembly, we are making arrangements to say that even funding of the armed forces should not even come through normal budgetary procedures. No country will survive real funding of the armed forces just through budgetary allocations. We have gone to second reading to see alternative sources where funding can be made so that our military will be well equipped with modern technology, and that requires funding. So if we have challenges of funding, even to fund the armed forces at its seats, because we feel that there should be a way in private individuals, multinational corporations, we take taxes from other either FRS or whatever. There are ways we have set out that this money should be funded and should be kept so that it can be administered. So you can say that once private individuals are involved, it will help. But to say that again, it should come from government to set aside certain funds for only legionnaires, we should enhance even the pension and make sure that people who have retired get their pension as at when due. If that is done also with the intervention from also private sources, I think it will really assist. And lastly, we should understand that in the National Assembly, we have made a provision that that's what is called the Armed Corps Reserve. That is, people who have retired from the army or who are veterans who are what in the event that there are shortages of manpower, and as the challenges of insecurity is getting more, we can always get them back to help fight along with the young ones.
These are like reservists.
They are reservists. And now for you to only do that, for these people to leave the reserve to come and fight, that means you must have been taking good care of them.
That's right.
They should be encouraged to say, look, I can put my life again back for this country, because even in retirement, my pension is being paid as at when due. My family has been taking care of my children education. I am doing well, so I can now come back. So I think that is why I said we must pay attention to even people that are retired and even the veterans, because you never can tell when the situation will demand, because in other parts of the world it has always been done.
Honorable Namdas, you're the chairman of the House Committee on the Army. Recently, a soldier was court-martialed to death by hanging because of some crimes, he committed. Of course, I learned he committed murder. There were also others who, have shown some unprofessional conduct in the course of their duties for one reason or the other, mostly bordering on welfare and all that. In oversighting the needs of these soldiers, also for the wives, of those who have fallen, what are your responsibilities? Because a lot of the women have cried out. Yes, some have, received the dues and entitlements, due to them. Most of the women have not. Most of the widows have not.
Well, in terms of the soldier that was actually court-martialed, I think court-martial is part of the military system, and it's very important that once there is no court-martial and people are not punished for offenses committed, then it is going to be a life that is just anyhow. So people must be actually punished for their actions. And in military, you must respect your superior authority and must take order from the superior commander. So if a soldier chooses to just kill his commander and you allow that to pass, I am not sure you are encouraging discipline and you are encouraging good command from people that are taking place. But I can tell you that the court-martial, there is a review. You can also appeal and you can make your reviews. That's a good thing about the military. So, but we encourage that once it is things that are being court-martialed, it's properly done, we have no problem with it. What we don't want is that punishing people unnecessarily.
How do we discourage, such action, even such attitude?
Well,
from ab initio.
You see, the thing is that the only way you can discourage this is that you make sure that, as I said earlier, welfare packages of soldiers are catered for, so that somebody don't get angry that, okay, or fatigue. It's expected that when you post a soldier to a particular place, it is expected that after 2 years or so, you can be able to move him from that place. But there are people who complain that, look, I have been in the Northeast for over 5 years, for 6 years. So if we have that kind of fatigue, of course we have spoken to the authority of the military. They've agreed that, look, they have to be changing this personnel. Yes. So if you do not change them or transfer them out of those fatigue areas, you can see psychologically somebody can wake up one morning and do things that are unnecessarily not good for them, not professional. So we encourage that 2 years you're supposed to, they have the data. Please don't allow a soldier to overstay beyond the normal so that he does not get psychologically affected. After all, in the army too, we still have doctors who take care of the psychological activities of those that are in front lines.
All right, Honorable Namdas, thank you very much. Just to indicate that, Claire, we have a number of tweets. Let's take those tweets, and there's a program announcement that at 9 o'clock we'll be continuing our program, not on Good Morning Nigeria, but this will be on the live coverage of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration at the Eagle Square here in Nigeria's capital territory. But in the meantime, let's take a number of tweets that have come in. Omagbola Babs, if there's anything that elates my mind about this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration, is the fact that of the recent victories our combined troops are recording back-to-back against bandits and Boko Haram terrorists. May God continue to grant more outstanding victories.
And Festus Akimboyewa, let's learn to walk up to those who wear the uniforms of our armed forces and say to them kind words like, thank you for your service. Well done. We love you. You are doing a great job. This will remind them always that they are close to our hearts and the heart of our nation.
Now, Badamasi Haruna Adamu tweets, to all our heroes that never came back home, continue to rest in peace. And those still at the battlefield, may the exalted continue to guide, protect, and above all, give you victory.
And Comrade Ngala, our gallant armed forces deserved commendations. They are the best in the whole of Africa.
This is from Yopu Msug. Says the government should do more for the families of our fallen heroes. A lot of them continue to suffer neglect. Happy Armed Forces Remembrance Day and good morning.
Ogbeni Sheyi Flo says today is an awesome day for the armed forces to remember her fallen heroes. One main reflection is that there should be sufficient provision of military ammunition for military in security operations and peacekeeping areas. Some of these fallen heroes might have survived.
Leo Fadaka, while we remember our fallen heroes, we must also appreciate those of them who are alive, both serving and retired. And remembering them, of course, will be through enhanced welfare and prompt payments. A nation cannot thrive without security.
Again, Murtana Farouk, may the souls of the fallen heroes continue to rest in peace. However, it is worrisome to see the retired soldiers protesting and lamenting their unpaid entitlements. This same story about poor entitlement and motivation still plays out among the serving ones in Lower Keda.
Festus Akimboyewa, on this Armed Forces Remembrance Day, let's cultivate the habit of encouraging the men and women serving in our military, especially those serving in remote parts of our country. Writing an encouraging letter or sending provisions to them would go a long way in boosting their morale.
Yunus Idris, federal government should please endeavor to settle the entitlement of our veterans and retired soldiers, their unpaid allowances, ranging from minimum wage arrears, security, debt allowances, and God bless the armed forces.
Suleiman Babagana, remembrance of fallen heroes in defending the territorial integrity of our nation needs to be revisited by giving or placing more emphasis on the well-being of their families by the government and support in any kind by citizens due to the sacrifice of the heroes for the rest of us to continue to live in peace.
Suleiman Babagana, that's the second one from him, but let me take Usman Banukantu. Armed Forces Remembrance Day is an annual event that is observed by all governments at all levels, not just governments, by everyone. Funds are raised with no clear action plan. All we are saying is peace to reign in all parts of the country. May the departed souls of the good ones rest in peace.
All right, those are the tweets we can accommodate. In the meantime, let's return to our Jos Network Center to get the closing thoughts of Major Gabriel Adofiku, who is immediate past Secretary General of the retired Service Personnel Association. Major Adofiku, of course, raised a number of points, and we, of course, appreciate you, but let's just get your closing thoughts on a day like this. Going forward, 2021, what would you like to see for yourself and your fellow veterans, and those who are still in service, by the way?
Thank you very much, Kingsley and Claire. First, permit me to appreciate the NTA for the marvelous job you are doing, portraying us in the light that, in fact, you are doing the converse side of what I was expressing concerning public support. You are doing a lot, and we are glad, we are grateful about that. Quickly, to the honorable member there in charge of Army, I want to appeal that you encourage the executive arm, particularly the Chief of Defense Staff, General Oloni Shakin, to conclude the exercise on the establishment of the Veterans Federation as an umbrella body modulating, and a kind of support body for the multitude of veterans welfare support associations that will be coming on stream. The 16th...
Major Gabriel Adafiku, I'm sorry, we just have to interject there. We have actually run out our time on this program. We'd like to appreciate you for joining us all the way from our Jos studio. Thank you as always and have a good day. And let us also appreciate the Chairman House Committee on the Army, Honorable Abdul Razak Namdas. Thank you very much for joining us. And let's join now our correspondent, Najatu Tijanu, live. Okay, she'll be joining us much later, but let's join our live studio now for continuation of today's program on Armed Forces Remembrance Day.
Yeah, just to remind you that Good Morning Nigeria returns on Monday, same time, 7 in the morning. Until then, I'm Kingsley Osadolo.
And I'm Claire Adelabu Abdul Razak.